Hello, please welcome from Extreme Networks, Chief Product and Technology Officer, Nabil Bukhari.
Thank you, Norman. Thank you for kicking us off. And welcome, everybody. Welcome to Extreme Connect. I must confess, I feel a little sad. I feel a little sad because we're not really here in person. We can't share a drink, we can't share a laugh in person, so there's a little bit of sadness. But at the same time, I am excited. I'm excited because we can reach out to more of you, to more customers, to more partners, and those of you who are just simply curious about Extreme. And you know what? It is a great time to be at Extreme, to be a user of Extreme, a customer of Extreme, or a partner of Extreme. And for those people out there, it is a great time to be curious about Extreme. So I thank you. I thank you for bringing us into your lives, into your homes, into your offices, and in some cases, on with you on your vacations. So thank you for that. Now, we have a lot of material for you. Material that is relevant for your professional lives, for your work environment. We also have a lot of entertainment for you and your family. The Team Extreme has done a phenomenal job and put in a lot of effort to build a virtual experience for you. Because we know experience is everything. And that is a mantra that is present in our entire portfolio. Everything that we do, any technology, any product, any feature, any solution that we build is built around a single mantra. A mantra to give you an experience that is effortless. Now, when you put a North Star in front of an entire company, for anything that they do, you have to define that North Star. So what is effortless experience for us? Effortless experience around networking. Effortless experience to make sure when you buy our technology, you have a great experience. When you deploy our technology, you have a great experience. When you use our technology, you have a great experience. Now, a lot of people tell me, hey Nabil, networking is really complex. Yes, it is. Networking is complex. And during this pandemic, and perhaps beyond that, it might become even more complex as you have to deal with a workforce that is no longer either in the office or in a branch office. A workforce that is distributed all across, how to provide them connectivity, how to onboard them, how to secure that connectivity, how to make sure that their experience is effortless. You, our users, our customers, our partners, are going through a complex period in networking. But that doesn't mean that your experience has to be complex. Now, I always like to give an example of cars, because I love driving cars. If you look at cars from 1930s to 1970s and all the way today, cars are infinitely more complex. The engines, the drivetrains, the in-cabin technology, it is way more complex, but conversely, the driving experience have become a lot more enjoyable, some might even say effortless. From the days where you used to have a crankshaft to turn on the engine, to the days where you were manual shifting, all the ways to days where you're sitting, relaxing with an autopilot, the driving experience have become effortless, enjoyable, simpler. And we believe that the experience around networking must, should, can, and will become effortless because that is what we are doing. That is what we have been doing, we will continue to do, and we are on that journey with you. So how do we define this effortless experience? This North Star for the company, what are the characteristics of it? 3 simple words, and simple happens to be the first of them. So effortless experience has to be simple. Why? Because, look, networking doesn't have to be so complex that it takes years to understand and decades to master. Those days are gone, and I know some people out there in networking believe that that is how it should be today. We are not one of those. We believe networking should be simple. Simple to deploy, simple to use, simple to purchase. Now, the second definition, the second characteristic of effortless experience is intuitive. What do I mean by intuitive? I remember the days where before you could even get on the console of any networking device, you had to go, I was going to say Google, but Google wasn't there at that time. You had to go search through PDFs or written documents to really figure out how it actually works. No longer, it doesn't have to be that way. Today's user gets onto their computer, onto their smartphone, and they start using things and they learn it as they use it. The same experience must come to networking, where the product, the technology itself teaches you. That, by the way, becomes a lot more important when the speed of innovation increases. And as Extreme embarks on this new journey, which we are in the middle of, where we are delivering more features, functionalities, value at a rapid pace, we cannot, you cannot as our user, afford to spend hours upon hours scrolling through manuals. So the networking experience has to be intuitive. And then really importantly, it has to be consistent. Now consistent has two different ways to look at it. Consistent over time, that is the first example. Well, you can't really have a really good experience today and then let the experience really fall apart tomorrow. So that's one, consistent over time. The second is consistent across our portfolio of products and services. An experience that you can expect when you are deploying our wireless. An experience that you will have when you're deploying our edge. An experience that you want when you're deploying our campus and our data center. An experience that is consistent across all the technologies that are part of our portfolio and every service that is attached to it. So 3 words to describe effortless experience: simple, intuitive, and consistent. And for who, as I explained earlier, it has to be from the point of view of the buyer, from the point of view of the admin, and the point of view of user. So simple, consistent, and intuitive for all 3 personas. Now, how do we deliver it? What are the components of it? And no, I'm not going to start going into how to architect a network or how to connect our switches and routers and wireless and IoT devices and our cloud together. There will be a lot of that later down the road in today and tomorrow. But what I will talk about here is that there are 3 main components that deliver this experience. And these 3 components are our applications, our management applications, be them on-prem or be it from the cloud, the core component. Our infrastructure portfolio, be it wired or wireless, that includes the hardware, that includes the OS that is running on it, that includes the feature functionality, that includes the fabric. That's the second component. And the third component, and the one that we are absolutely committed to not even only maintaining at the highest levels in the industry, but even outdoing ourselves, and that is service. So when you bring cloud management, when you bring platforms and you bring services together, they all 3 combine together to provide this effortless experience that is simple, that is intuitive, that is consistent, and that is for the buyer, that is for the admin, and that is for the user. That, my fellow Extreme lovers, is the mantra for our company. That is the North Star. We are here to create effortless experience so we can all advance. Now, that's a fun pitch, but you might be thinking, where are my examples? So I'm going to give you some examples. Of course, I cannot go through each one of them in this session, but trust me, you will find this thread in every session that you attend throughout the conference. So you'll get a lot of examples, a lot of deep dives, and if you attend the demo channel as well, you'll see a lot of demos around it too, but I'll take some few examples. And in those examples, you are going to hear something that you're using today. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And then you will hear about some things that you'll be like, I have never heard about that. Just know that I am going to blend together things that we have been working on for the last 1 year since we last met, as well as things that you'll be hearing about and you would be receiving very shortly. So this is, at the same exact moment, a look back and a look ahead. So let's take examples. And no, I'm not going to start from configuration. I'm going to start way earlier than that. I'm going to start from the buying experience. Because before you can even use our technologies, you have to first acquire it. You have to first buy it. You have to first wrap your minds around this crazy thing called licensing. And we all know who have been in networking that licensing is one of those things that is difficult to understand, that is difficult to comprehend, that is difficult to implement, and more importantly, it's really difficult to keep track of. Why? Because the industry over the years have not really simplified it. But we have, and I'll tell you how. When you are an extreme buyer, those who are, thank you. Those who are curious, go ahead and start using it because you're gonna love it. Anyhow, bringing it back. Licensing. How are we making the experience effortless in licensing? Number one, in networking, most of the licenses are based on whether you are using an AP or a switch, if the switch is a single form factor, or is it a chassis, how many ports it has, how many speeds and feeds it has. No more. We do not believe in that. A device is a device in your network, and each one of them is valuable for you. So Extreme is the first company that is introducing device agnostic licensing. Where? In the cloud, in Extreme Cloud IQ. When you get a license for Extreme Cloud IQ, it is a license which is agnostic of the device. Same license for the smallest AP to the largest chassis. Single license that is device agnostic. Well, that's fun. But what about I have to move those licenses? Now, that have been something that has been really difficult in the industry till now. We have made that device agnostic license also portable. So you can actually port that from one device to another. All right, you might say that is in your Cloud XIQ. What about your licenses on your OS, on your devices? Same thing. Moving forward, you will see as we talk more and more about universal platforms that our licenses, our advanced licenses in the OS, they are going to be consistent across. You buy the advanced license, it'll work on your XOS, it'll work on your WAS as well as your SLX. Again, making licensing easy. Now, a lot of the time customers tell me, look, I don't even know how many licenses I'm using, and God forbid if I have to move a license from one device to another because of an RMA or something like that, it is difficult. Well, we are making that experience effortless as well. Simply log into your XIQ account, see the licenses you have, move them around with simple click buttons, and there you go. That is an experience that as a buyer, as an admin, as a user around licensing, you can experience. Now, what about services? I'll just simply take one example, which is LLW. Now, LLW is something that everybody has a hard time wrapping their minds around because it is very complicated in the industry, but no longer. With the introduction of our universal platforms, both in the wired as well as in the wireless, you will hear a lot about universal platforms throughout the conference. But just remember that with those universal experience comes a single LLW policy that is relevant to all of them, making your life easy. So those are some of the things we are doing around licensing, but licensing is not the only thing. When you are buying the technology, you're looking for choice. Well, you're looking for a vendor that gives you different choices. Why? Because your business requirements are different. You might want to buy the technology for different portions of your enterprise or your network. You require choice. Well, we do have choice. We give you end-to-end portfolio, but so do others. What other kind of choice are you looking for? You are looking for a choice that de-risks your buying behavior. Now today, people who are familiar with Extreme, you do know that you have multiple choices. You can deploy a fabric in your enterprise, you can deploy our XOS solutions in the enterprise, you can deploy our SLX solutions in the enterprise, but you have to make that choice at the time of purchase. But moving forward with the universal platforms, no longer. because the same platforms run any of the OSs that are available from it, thus de-risking your decision, your choice as a buyer, as an admin, as a user. Now that choice converts into flexibility when it comes to user, because not only you can buy the universal platform and run any of the OSs, you buy the same license that is applicable to the same OSs as I mentioned earlier. You can actually decide at the time the device comes up, you can simply log into your cloud or on the CLI and decide which OS you want to run. And by the way, that's not a one-time choice. That flexibility resides with you throughout the duration, lifespan of that product. So you can make that choice, remake that choice as your requirements change, as you move from one portion of your network to another portion of your network. Choice and flexibility. That is how we are making your experience, whether you are a buyer, whether you're an admin, or you're a user. This is how we're bringing simplicity. This is how we're bringing consistency and making it intuitive for you. Now, security is at the forefront of all of our minds, especially with the current pandemic, as networks are now pushed out from the campus. They are now not just one campus, but one campus with thousands of little islands, be it people's work offices at home, or be it like coffee shops, or be it sometimes even the beach. So as you look through that, you are looking for more and more security in your infrastructure. And yes, security is a complicated topic. There are many different ways to look at it. We are talking about building security right into your infrastructure. And security, that is not just because I'm standing here and saying that, look, these products are secure, but because they are verified. And a lot and more of our customers are actually turning towards certifications to verify that. A lot of them are asking for federal certifications around security to make sure that the products that they are acquiring and buying and deploying in their infrastructure are secure and meet a certain standard. Therefore, the entire wired portfolio that we have is now either already federally certified or is bang in the middle of that process. That is again bringing that ease of mind, that simplicity, that intuitiveness, that consistency in your buying choices, in your deployment choices. Those are examples. Now I said that there are three components. There's infrastructure, there's services. I talked a little bit about that, but I haven't talked about cloud. So what about cloud? Are we bringing simplicity, consistency, and making it intuitive in the cloud? Yes or no? So let me take you on that journey a little bit. But before I go, let me describe what we mean by cloud. Cloud is not a product. Cloud is a culture internally, and it's an experience externally. What do I mean by that? Cloud reflects the speed of innovation. It reflects the way of thinking when my teams are developing that. And when it comes to you, it really describes the experience that you get. The experience of simplicity, the experience of it just simply works, the experience of like, oh, it's always available. Well, that's what we mean by cloud, but obviously that experience is dependent on products, certain specific products. So let me talk a little bit about that. You're already familiar with our suite of applications, from management to analytics and control and advanced features. You typically know them as XMC, that suite of applications. It's been around there. A lot of you use that. Thank you for doing that. You continue to enjoy that. Late last year, we acquired Aerohive, and with Aerohive, we brought over technology which is more centered around cloud rather than on-prem, and is actually provided as a service from our cloud, the XIQ technology, and a lot of you are familiar with that as well. Now, the XIQ technology is, we call it cloud, but it's a product that is steeped in this mantra of simplicity, in this mantra of consistency and choice. How? Because our cloud, XIQ, is the only cloud management product or suite of products in the industry that provide you choice on multiple levels. Number one, as I already mentioned, device agnostic portable licenses. Doesn't matter whether it's an AP or a chassis. Number two, you can deploy it in the cloud, as most people understand that, which is a public cloud, or you can deploy it in your own data center, in your own private cloud, which is completely owned by you, or you can even deploy it locally, just like you deploy XMC. So choice for you, making it simple, making it intuitive. Deploy where it makes sense to you, locally or in the public cloud. And talking about public cloud, there are many, many options that are out there. The three most well-known and the largest ones are, of course, AWS, GCP, and Azure. And we are the only networking cloud that is running concurrently in production in all three of them around the globe. That is choice. That makes your life simple. That is intuitive. Intuitive because when you're going on your app, you don't really care where it is deployed, but if you do care, you can select where it is deployed. The same thing is coming to your networking. If you don't care, then know that it's always available. If you do care because of your corporate mandate or for any other reason, you can choose where your application runs. Now, as I said, two different sets of applications, two different suites of application, two different ways of buying, of consuming. One is a perpetual license. You buy it, you own it, you manage it, you upgrade it, you downgrade it, you back up, you are responsible for it, but you have complete control on that. It is yours. If that is the model that works for you, then continue buying XMC because that product is way ahead of other products and will continue to be so. Now, if you are a customer, as a lot of our customers are thinking through it, and perhaps in this environment of pandemic and a little bit of uncertainty, and as people are looking out, some buying behaviors are actually changing, and they are asking for these same solutions in the form of as a service. Well, if that is the decision that your company has made, then the XIQ platform is the world's best, in the networking world, the best platform for that. I already mentioned the choice part, but let me talk a little bit why it is best in terms of other characteristics as well. And there I'll take a little step back and look, a very brief look at the history of cloud. At the very start, when cloud started, the big selling point for cloud was, look, it is more available than my servers in my server rack. Well, okay, well, that's a good enough reason. Or perhaps it was a reason that, look, cloud is available as a service. But we have come a long way. Today, when people are looking at cloud, they're looking for four things, not just one. They are, of course, still looking for availability. They are looking for durability, because when you put your data in the cloud, you want to make sure that it is going to be there when you need it, for however long you need it. That's the duration part, so durability and duration. And last one, when you give your data, your competitive advantage into a cloud, there is a tinge of fear in your heart. Is it secure? And of course, we hear that news all over the place all the time, so some clouds are not secure out there. How are we solving all of these problems? From an availability point of view, we do not measure our availability of our cloud in nines. This is called no nines cloud. Why? Because it is simply always available. Distributed, redundant across the globe, across each and every geography that we are present, which is a lot. In terms of durability, the durability is something that is incomprehensible. If you keep writing the same amount of data for 500 million years, you might lose one over 500 million years, which is practically you're never going to lose it. In terms of duration, we are used to, in the days of either on-prem application or when you're looking at the competitor's cloud even today, you are used to looking at, hey, your data is available for you for 7 days, 30 days, 90 days. Oh, by the way, if you want a year, I am going to charge you more for it, not at Extreme. We provide you 30, 90, or unlimited data duration at no additional cost. That means for however long you are in our platform, that data is not only available for you, all the machine learning and AI that we are developing for you is run across all of them. So the longer you're in there, the better it gets. Example, you're a retailer. You want to see, how was my traffic in the last Black Friday? Sure, no problem. How was it 10 years ago? Sure, no problem. You're a venue, you have a big game. You want to see how did my network react last year or the year before that or 5 years or 10 years. No problem. You're a school, you are getting your students back. You want to know how is it going to react. How is it this year? How was it last year? 10 years ago? Doesn't matter. For however long you are in the XIQ platform, your data is available. And by the way, we are perhaps the only one. If you ever leave us, don't, but if you ever leave us, you can take your data with you. So this is how we are bringing that mantra of an effortless experience to our cloud side as well, our platform side as well, and our services side as well. These are just some examples. Now, of course, throughout the rest of this day and the day tomorrow, throughout across all of those different channels, be it the innovation, be it the IT warrior, be it the demo, or the new normal channel, you are going to hear more and more and more examples and details of how we're not only promising but bringing this effortless experience as we speak in the entirety of our portfolio, cloud, platform, and services. There's a lot more I can say about that, but this needs to come to an end as well. But before it does, I do want to talk to you about some other things as well. Look, this part of my presentation, this part of my conversation, it didn't really feel like a presentation. It feels like I'm talking to you face to face, having a conversation about, look, what are we doing to help you, and getting your feedback, hopefully, after this, getting your feedback on how we can actually do it better for you. This conversation was about the portfolio. This was about the product. I am privileged and I'm honored that at Extreme, I wear two hats. Not just the head of the product, having a phenomenal team in the product and engineering side, but I also wear the CTO hat. And as in that portion of my job, I need to think ahead. My team, the office of the CTO, needs to think ahead. They need to find issues before they become issues and try to solve them. They need to take experiences that have been there for decades and see if they can enrich them, if they can bring the effortlessness to them, if they make them simple, more intuitive, and more consistent. You might have noticed from my chat so far that I believe that data, the networking data, your data about the usage, about your network, what it does for you, whether it is up or down, all of that data, all of that analytics, all of that insight, that is a huge source that has not yet been unlocked. Not yet been unlocked for efficiency. Not yet been unlocked for advancement. Not yet been unlocked to enrich the data that is available for business decisions. So this data is not just for you if you are an operator. This data is not just for you if you're a user. This data is for you if you are in a position to make business decisions for your company. You might be a C-suite or a member of the board. This is a data that can help you guide your business through these times and the times coming ahead. So you might summarize that by saying that I'm a big fan of data and I believe that it is underutilized at this point in time. So what are we doing to help you unlock that data for you? Example number one. Everybody talks about ML and AI, so do we. There's a lot of ML and there's a lot of AI in our platforms, in our products, in XIQ, but I'm not going to talk about those features. I'm going to talk about something called the trust gap around ML and AI. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, two different things, but we'll categorize them together for right now for the sake of this argument. A lot of people still feel, I don't really know what it is doing. Can I trust it? Can I explain what it is doing? And those of you who are well versed in this field, you will know about as explainable AI. Others just think about it, can you trust it? We are humans, we still trust other humans. So we have the best ML and AI in our cloud. We also happen to have the best in-house service, peer-reviewed service, told by you, told by our partners, told by all the analysts in the industry, the best service organization in the industry. So why not bring them together? And that is what you will hear quite a bit in the presentations to come. This is what we call as CoPilot. There's a specific session on that. Don't forget to listen to that. What is CoPilot? CoPilot is ML and AI that is going through mountains of data in the background, looking for patterns that might cause problem to you. And what it happens, no, it does not ping you. It does not put up a red dot on your thing. Why? Because a lot of applications do that. And what do? You get so many of them, you don't know what they mean, you ignore them. So what does CoPilot do? CoPilot takes that data, takes that pattern, and runs it internally through our world-class service. And these people who know our technology inside out, know your network inside out, have been doing it for decades and decades. They look at those patterns, and if they and the ML AI agree that this is something that could cause trouble to you, they reach out to you and work with you until it is fixed or addressed. That service is CoPilot, and guess what? That is going to start rolling out to the users of Extreme Cloud IQ pilot license over the course of next few months, and then eventually it'll become a product. But you will hear a lot more about that. This is the power of data with the explainable and trustable aspect of human together. That's example number one. Let me give you a different example. Let me give you an example of an experience that a lot of you have been having for a long time, which is the experience of actually using the technology, using the products on a daily basis. Looking at screens, looking at the topologies, looking at the logical topologies, looking at, whether things are working or not. Your dashboard, whatever dashboard you use. How can we enrich that with data? How can we enrich that with data that is available to you at an unlimited duration? I'm going to ask one of my colleagues here, Gregor, to spin up, because these kind of things you have to show them. So spin it up and have you look at this. Now, what is it that we are trying to show you here? Look, this is, by the way, your fabric, which is represented in XIQ. Now, of course, some of you might say, look, fabric is not there in XIQ, so hint, hint, you know that is coming. But that's besides the point. Somebody else will talk about that. What am I talking about? Look, this is a topology that you're looking at. You see a timeline up there? Well, that's the timeline that is based on what has been happening in your network over that period of time. Now, many a times you wonder, somebody comes up and says that, look, I have a problem, but I had it last week, or I had it a month ago. Or you're doing something and you wonder, I wonder what was the state of my network 2 years ago or 5 years ago. Maybe in topology, maybe in terms of logical topology, or maybe in terms of any other aspect that you can think of. You can now, with the power of that data, you can now simply drag and drop and select the time period that you're interested in and hit that play button. Those of you who are Mac users, you have experienced this as Time Machine. Those of you who go to watch a lot of videos on Netflix or on YouTube, you are able to scrub. They call it fast speed scrub forward and backward, so you can scan through something very quickly. That's the experience we are bringing to your networking. That is the experience that is made possible because data. And because we make that data accessible to you, we make it simple to use it, we make it intuitive to take advantage of it, and we make sure that it is consistent across everything that you deploy from Extreme. So that is another example. And as I said, something to look forward to. A little look back and a little look forward. This is part of the look forward. Now there's a lot of other sessions that are going to come up. There's a lot of other information. There's a lot of entertainment. So I encourage you to enjoy it thoroughly. I encourage you to attend these. But come the next work day, when you go back to your office, be it in your actual office or at your home or at a coffee shop, and you sit down, spend 5 minutes asking yourself, if in your job as an operator, as a designer, as a user, as a business leader, as a board member, as a public servant, in your job, if you have access to this kind of data in a simple, intuitive, and consistent fashion, what experience will you make effortless? Thank you very much for hanging out here with me. Enjoy the rest of this day and a couple of more days of this conference. And I really sincerely hope that next time we are going to be live, sitting in the same room. Have a wonderful day.
Hello. Please welcome back from Extreme Networks, Norman Rice.
Wow, thank you, Nabil. That was an excellent wrap-up and presentation on our roadmap and what to expect. And the big reveal, which is the migration of XMC to XIQ and the path to get there. Stay tuned for more information there. Nabil laid it out for us. There's going to be more info to follow, and talk to your account teams if you have questions. So now we're going to segue into our breakouts. Remember, there's 4 channels, and you can visit and traverse wherever you want to go based on the content. So look at the schedules. The New Normal, the IT Warrior, the Innovation Channel, and the demos. Remember, these are all live supported, and our demo center is completely interactive. We're going to go ahead at the end of those channels, when they're done, reconvene for our live chat, where we get together with executives from Extreme and address any open questions that you may have. So thank you, so long.